Hey everybody, I'm just doing a video on the tires that I just changed. I just changed them on my Honda xr650l. I put on Kenda K761s. This is how they look. They're pretty decent tires. I changed them because I mostly do street riding here in New York, and I'm gonna do a review on them. I changed the stock tires because this is a fairly new bike, and it still had the stock rear tire, and then I changed the front with a Shinko, one of those Shinko dual sports. I'll post the model of that too. That wasn't too bad either. That one held up pretty good in the front. But these Kenda K761s are really good if you have like a combination on your Honda XR. If you do some highway riding, not tons. I mean, nobody wants to ride these on tons of highway. But when I was doing highway with the stock tires on the Honda, which was a 2020 Honda XR650 that I bought in Florida, the stock tires were noisy. I didn't really like them. But as far as like in the rain and stuff like that, they weren't that bad. But if it was like a pouring rain here in New York and I was heading home, I don't ride out in the rain unless I have to. Like if I'm out on a service call and the unexpected rain comes in, or if I have emergency service call, I'll dispatch in the rain. But normally I try to avoid rain riding because it's just not safe. But that's almost impossible in New York. So you're gonna have to pack rain gear, which I have in my backpack, and all rain pants and rain jacket, and my winter all season jacket is waterproof shell, which is even better. But I like these Kenda K761s because I notice like in the rain they're pretty good. Good traction, good braking. It's a good street tire, but when things get a little rough, they respond fine too. They don't. They're not like a, they're not a 100%. They're an 80-20, which I found for New York City, 80-20 is good. You could even go with a 70-30 in New York, and you'd still be fine. And some people even drive 50-50, depending on the compound. Like, amazingly enough, Kenda big blocks seem like they'd be good. I've never ridden on them. I'm going to try them one time and review them. And I've ridden on Pirelli MT21s. Those are decent, actually decent in the wintertime. The compound on them is fairly good. It's not bad in rain and cold. The problem, like Dunlop D605s are really bad in the cold weather and the rain. As that cold drops, you'll find that it's just not a good performing tire. But these Kenda K761s, they're not perfect. I mean, they wear down fairly quickly. They're not going to last you more than 5,000, 6,000 miles, which sucks, The most you get out of them is 6,000. So, that's that for some people they don't like that. But, I'm okay with that because it's a drawback between the compound of the rubber and all that stuff. And you got to have good braking, good turning, all that stuff. So these Kenda K761s, for me, I found cost-wise, they're not bad too. Because if you're changing your tires every 6,000 miles, you don't want to be spending, $300 on tires. You want to spend like $150, $170 the most, depending on if there's a sale or something like that. You might be able to pick up Kenda K761s for $140, $130. Sometimes they have good deals on them. But what you need in New York is good tires for all weather, cold, rain, and good braking. And the problem with the Honda XR650 is it's a light bike compared to like a KLR that I ride in the wintertime. So the problem with the the problem with the XR is a little bit light on the back end. So, you know, when you try to do applied braking where you're doing part front and part back to maximize your stopping, sometimes when you feel that back wheel sliding a little bit, you gotta let off of it and just apply more front brake. But that's very hard to do in a emergency situation. Even though I've trained myself to do it, there are times when I don't, when I get cut off really bad, and I'm just applying a lot of front brake and a little bit of rear to try to really stop the bike. I think it'd be nice to have anti-lock, but that would just add to the weight of this bike. And I've talked to other riders. I have a friend in my building. He rides a Ninja 300, and he has anti-lock brakes on it. And believe it or not, he doesn't like it, which I was really shocked. I was like, "Oh my God, I thought you would love that." But he says, "No, I wish I could turn it off, you know, and then and put it on when I want it, you know," because he said that sometimes the roads have a lot of gravel. Sometimes you're driving over a metal plate, you know, whatever it is, and you want to apply the braking by your feel on your hand. You know, you want to feel it, apply the brake in an emergency situation. You don't want the bike to decide for you, which is a pretty cool concept. So I'm wondering, you know, for advanced riders, like he's an advanced rider, what is most advanced? I would love to hear from people, like what they think on advanced riders, what they think of anti-lock brakes. Do you like it? Do you want to be able to turn it off? It's a debate, you know, because definitely people who ride dual sports don't like anti-lock. And when you're trying to keep the weight of your bike down, it's going to add weight no matter what, because you have electronics, and then you have an extra part to the disc that's going to sense when the wheel is turning or when it's not, and that's going to add weight. Even on the KLR, the new KLR, it looks almost the same. They put ABS on it, and then they put fuel injection, and it added weight to it. So I don't think you can avoid weight gain when you put more electronics on a bike, which, you know, when people in New York, weight and size is what works against you. But in the dead of winter, the KLR is still a good bike, you know, for me. I switch up, you know, you'll see in my videos where I switch up to this bike as soon as the weather gets warm, because I personally don't like riding a heavy bike. I find the KLR to be heavy. So I love the XR650, and I applied this is my first XR650. Before, it's all KLRs, and I really like this bike. I just can't ride it all year round because it doesn't have any wind protection at all. You probably could retrofit it with wind protection, but, you know, would you want to screw up an XR? Would you want to screw up an XR like that to make it look and feel like a KLR? It's going to be heavy with a big gas tank and all that. Oh, that's another thing. I don't like the size of the gas tank, but I love the weight of the bike. So it's a double edge for me. You know, I'm not going to change the gas tank on it to go bigger, because I don't want more weight on this bike. I love the weight of it. It's great, the weight of this bike. So anyway, I found Kenda K761s to be a good tire, but I'm dying to try. I want to hear from other riders what you think of the Kenda big block tire, because I may want to switch to that depending on the compound. I just don't want to find out the hard way it took me a while to discover that the Kenda K761 is good in winter, good in summer, good with braking, good in the rain. When you find a tire like that, you kind of stick with it. But tire technology is constantly changing, so to be a stick in the mud and always sticking with the same brand is also not smart. So I would love to hear from other riders in your comments. Give a like on the video if you like it, and subscribe, and then give me some comments on tires for the XR650. What you use, what you like, what city you're in, because you know, when it comes to riding in New York, it's a different kind of place. You know, it's rough. Roads are rough. They're almost off-roadish in some, you know, in the wintertime because there's just so much holes. If you rode a 100% street tire, you would regret it. So, an 100% street tire is going to last you a lot longer. But I've tried it on a KLR, do a street tire, and I totally regretted it with braking in the rain. It just didn't have the performance. And then, on top of that, it was absolutely horrible when you're hitting bad roads. Whereas these Kenda K761s, they just roll over whatever you throw at them, which is nice. Now, the roads are better now because it's summer, but in winter, these roads are rough. I mean, there's huge potholes that sometimes make you cringe when you hit them, if you can't avoid one because there's a car next to you or something, or you didn't see it in time, and you just smash through it. This bike will do it. The KLR will do it also, just not with much as finesse as this bike, you know, because this bike is an off-road bike in my opinion. You know, it's kind of tall, but its true blood is off-road, and you know it shows that in the mileage. It doesn't get the greatest mileage. You know, if you pound on this thing, you're gonna get like 45 to the gallon. You know, maybe even less. 40. You know, if you take it lightly, you'll get 45, 50. But you're not gonna get like a Yamaha, you know, XT, you know, where you get 75 miles to the gallon or something. You know, or you know, some of these Honda scooters, you know, getting 75 miles to the gallon. They're very fuel efficient. Even some of the Beamers, or some of the like the BMW F800 gets really good mileage. But that's too much of a bike with electronics here for New York. It's too nice. Like this bike, I found it the other night. I couldn't find a parking spot, so I had to jam it between two cars. And New Yorkers are mean, you know. They knocked my bike over. They fucked up their car too. Like they just squeezed their car in there, and my bike was like partially knocked over into the other car. My GPS alarm went off, so I went out to check, but the guy was already gone. But you know, he had bumped the bike. He tore off his license plate bracket, and it was just hanging on by one screw. And hey, friend. Hello. Hey, friend. How's it going, man? Oh, what's up, man? Oh, thanks. All right. Man, what the? Oh, thanks, man. Hey, what's up, man? How you been?